threatened all day, but beams of afternoon sun began to break through the clouds as our car pulled up on Fifth Avenue in downtown Nashville, Tennessee. We stepped out of the car and onto a bright red carpet that stretched nearly a city block along the outside of the Ryman Auditorium to the historic music venue's entrance. Hundreds of music fans cheered and waved while camera crews and press stopped us for interviews as we made our way into the first ever K-Love Fan Awards. As honored as the other guys in Big Daddy Weave and I were to be there, the red carpet was a source of anxiety for me from the moment I heard about it. I've always hated certain aspects of these kinds of events. Those negative feelings are primarily rooted in my own insecurities. The way I've seen myself and have perceived other people seeing me over the years was the beginning of the very song that brought us here. I was blown away when I first heard we were even nominated for an award, let alone for Song of the Year. Making it even more meaningful was that the winners would be decided by radio listener votes. Most other awards are decided by committees or industry members. This was an event for the people. Every one of those votes represented a life that had been touched in some way by the message in the music. In my mind, we had no chance of winning. I wasn't bothered by that because I'm such a big fan of everyone else who was nominated. There was no way an award was going to us instead of artists like Chris Tomlin or Matt Redman, people we respect and looked forward to being in the same room with that night. I was so sure we wouldn't win that I didn't even have a speech prepared. My 6-year-old son, Eli, said to me earlier that night, "Daddy, I'm nervous. What will happen if you don't win?" I told him not to worry. We had already won, knowing how God had used the song in so many people's lives. We made our way into the Ryman Auditorium and found the pews where we were to sit. The Ryman was originally built as a house of worship in the late 1800s. I felt more like I was in church than at an award show, except that I was surrounded by my favorite Christian music artists. It was surreal. I loved being there with my wife Candace and the other Big Daddy Weave guys and their wives. For as much time as the 5 of us in Big Daddy Weave had spent together, there had only been a few times when we and the very special women in our lives had been together. When the time approached for us to perform our nominated song, we left our seats to walk backstage. On the way, we passed by Toby Mac. As we did, I thought about how I'd listened to Toby Mac and DC Talk since I was a teenager. I couldn't believe we were here among all these people who have had such an impact on my life. Standing side stage about to go on, I thought about the people who had stood on this very spot. Hank Williams, Elvis Presley, and so many others. In just a moment, we were going to stand in that same place and sing of what Jesus had done in our lives. The time came for us to play. I don't consider us in the same league as the people I was seeing in the audience during our performance, like Mac Powell from Third Day and Bart Millard from Mercy Me. It moved me to be singing a song in front of them that meant so much to my life. Seeing the looks on their faces, seeing that they were receiving what we were sharing, is a moment I'll never forget. Back in our seats, the time came for the announcement of the Song of the Year award. Suddenly, my heart started beating faster. Redeemed being voted Song of the Year wasn't something I'd even considered possible, but I could feel the anxiousness increasing in my mind and body. What if they did say our name? What would I say? Then Mandisa read, "The Song of the Year is Redeemed, Big Daddy Weave." When I heard those words, my mind left me and my body went into autopilot mode. Our friend Chris August was jumping up and down in front of us. I didn't even remember that my wife was there. I just left the pew and thought, I need to get to that podium before anyone else so I can figure out what I can possibly say. Can we even respond to what is happening? How in the world am I going to process this? I could only think about Eli feeling nervous and the news I could tell him when we got home. I didn't know exactly what I was saying at the time. I only knew that I was speaking words of gratitude. I was so grateful for the opportunity to thank God in front of everybody. I had set my